And hello, everybody, and welcome to HCAM Sports Talk Live. I am your host, Tom Nappi, and we have a lot to talk about today. Joining me on the show, or we're at least hoping that he's going to join us today, is Jared Keene from the Metrowest Daily News. And then later on at about 3:30, we will have Hiller's field hockey coach on, Rebecca Abate. So we look forward to talking some field hockey with Coach Abate and some of the rule changes and how the team has been prepping for the season. Certainly a lot to get to. And as you know, or as most of you probably know, if you follow field hockey, it'll be 7-on-7 this season. So you'll have less players on the field at once. So we look forward to talking to Coach Abate about how she has been prepping her team for the rule changes. It should be an interesting conversation. And I see Jared is entering right now. Jared, how are you?
Good, Tom. How you doing? Sorry about that, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, that's okay. You're here. That's all that matters. That's okay. I had to get some housekeeping items out of the way anyway.
All right. All right. How we
And
doing?
doing good, doing good. And we'll certainly be talking a lot about the NFL, a lot going on with the COVID situation. And we're going to get right into the picks in just a bit since we have a
Okay.
guest joining us at 3:30. But I do want to mention tonight live on HCAM is a brand new edition of the Hopkinton Hangout Hour at 7 p.m. A mentor and former members of the Hopkinton High School Diversity Club will be on to talk with Jim Cousins about how the club started, what events and activities they have sponsored, and their hopes for the future. Also, they'll have a segment about the current state of bird migration in Massachusetts and what to be looking for through the winter months. That's on a brand new Hopkinton Hangout Hour tonight at 7. Well, there was recently a big accomplishment on the golf course by Hopkinton Hiller. But before we get to that, it's official. Fall sports coverage is starting on HCAM this weekend, and we have a number of games that we will be covering all weekend long. We have 6 games this weekend, 4 of which will be on Saturday, October 10th. We'll have Hiller's field hockey at 9 a.m. We'll have the Hiller's JV field hockey match against Medway. Then at 11 a.m., we'll have Hiller's varsity against Medway. And then following that, we have Hiller's girls varsity soccer against Medway at 1:30, and then Hiller's JV girls soccer against Medway at 3:30. And then last but certainly not least, on Sunday, October 11th, we have Hiller's boys soccer. We'll have the Hiller's JV team against Medway at 2 p.m. and then the Hiller's boys varsity team at 4 p.m. taking on Medway. So an action-packed week of Hiller's sports, a lot of games on the weekends, pretty much all of them in the TVL for field hockey and soccer with a couple of exceptions, but it's mostly going to be weekend games for the fall one season. And the big accomplishment by the Hillers golf team, it was Andrew Morse, and this is courtesy of the Metrowest Daily News. Jared, you may be familiar with that company. Andrew Morse was the medalist, carding a 37 as Hopkinton Golf improved to 2-0, defeating Norton 240 to 283 at TPC Boston. In Norton on Wednesday, the Hillers shot the lowest team score at TPC Boston in the last 5 years. Leo Shinmura shot a 38, while Jeff Toko and Jack Petruni each carded a 39. A great photo by Ken McGaff of the Metro West Daily News of Andrew Morris as the Hillers were victorious in their golf matchup against Norton at TPC Boston. All right, so we have had quite the week in sports. Jared, have you been out there to cover anything yet?
I did, Tom. I have. I was out on there Monday covering Franklin and Milford boys soccer down at Franklin. A game that Milford won 4-0. That Milford team is good. They have a lot of talent. Yeah, but
Didn't
it
they
was
make a
nice.
big run last year?
Yeah, they went to the D2 state final, and lost to Winchester. Unfortunately, that was their only loss of the season. Actually, was in the state final. But yeah, a lot of those guys were returned to the team this year, and they got some new guys that kind of came in. They got a lot of talent. I believe the two teams are playing today again at Milford. But yeah, no, it was good to get back out there. It was a little bit weird, kind of seeing soccer.
So how was it? How was the experience?
It was again, it was nice to be out there.
The game though. How was the game?
No, it looked a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I kind of got used to it a little bit more as the game went on. Not being able to, not having any headers or not seeing any slide tackles or, I feel like the refs kind of let a few things go, but they also kind of called a few things. And
I feel like they have to let a few things go. I mean, these players are just transitioning to this.
Right.
They're obviously going to make some mistakes that are unintentional.
Right. At one point, actually, one of the Franklin players went down and accidentally touched the ball, and the ref stopped play and ran in and was like, "Don't touch the ball! Don't touch the ball!" It was, it was interesting. I'm sure I'll get used to it more as I cover more soccer throughout the year. But
now the goalies can touch it, right? They just have to wear those gloves.
Obviously, but they got the gloves on.
So was it slower, or was it as bad as you thought it was going to be? Because I know you weren't. Obviously, no one's happy about the rule changes, but I know you were kind of not really enjoying the rule changes, and you really thought for the worst. Was it that bad, or was it a little better than you thought?
It was honestly actually a little bit better than I thought. It just looked different. I mean, again, I think as I cover a little bit more of it, I'll probably get used to it more. But for the most part, it was, it was normal besides some of the obvious rule changes. Not seeing any headers was kind of, again, weird. Not being able to see any slide tackles or anything was kind of weird. But at the same time, some of it also looked kind of normal. So no, I wouldn't say it was quite as bad as I actually thought it was going to be, but it was still a little bit out there. That's for sure.
Well, that's good. I'm glad it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. I think you'll probably just get used to it the more games you cover.
Yeah, it was also a little weird having 4 quarters instead of 2 halves. I'm so used to soccer being in halves. So quarters was kind of a little bit interesting.
What was it? 10-minute quarters?
No, it was 20-minute quarters.
20-minute quarters. Wow.
4 20-minute quarters. Yeah.
Wow. So they're playing the same time.
Right.
So they just pretty much take more breaks to sanitize and stuff.
Yeah. After every quarter, they have to go out and sanitize the balls, clean them off. And, there's a little bit of a break, obviously, at halftime. But yeah,
Well, I'm looking forward to this weekend. It should be interesting.
Yeah, it'll,
I'll certainly miss some good slide tackling, though.
Yeah,
that's always a fun part of soccer.
Absolutely. And again, it was what was kind of weird again was seeing some corner kicks, and on some of these corner kicks, you're so used to, the ball being just kind of delivered straight into the box and somebody going up for a header or something. But, a lot of these corner kicks were kind of a little short pass to one of the teammates, and then they would kind of swing across into the box, but obviously nobody could attack it with their heads.
Right.
You either kind of had to try to volley it out of the air or kind of try to settle it and then shoot, or
a bicycle kick.
Yeah, the old bicycle kick. Yeah.
Was there any bicycle kicks?
There was not, actually. There was not. I didn't see any, but.
What about accidental headers?
No, it looked like at times, there might have been times where it looked like people were going to maybe go up for a header, but nobody accidentally headed the ball. No. So.
I'm just waiting for it to happen. Somebody's going to do it if they haven't already.
But I'll tell you, Milford is good. And, what's interesting about that Milford team this year, and I kind of wrote about it in my story, they're obviously coming off a season in which they made the state final and lost. So now kind of the motivation for this year would normally be like, let's win a state title. But obviously
Right.
it's not an option this year because of no postseason. So their kind of motivation now, even in a shortened season, is just kind of go out and win every game possible.
Right.
Win whatever they can,
Run the table.
no matter the modifications or whatever, modified playoffs, or they just want to win. That's kind of the way they're kind of looking at it. Obviously it's kind of unfortunate, especially for some of these seniors now that lost in that state final game last year as juniors. But I'll tell you, Milford is good. They have a lot of talent and some chemistry, and
That's good. I always got to root for them a little bit since I am an alum. So, but they certainly built up that soccer program down there from when I went there. I'll tell you that they were okay when I was there for a year or two, but then it was a couple of years they weren't so great. But
right,
I'm glad to see that they are a state championship contender now. That's good stuff.
Yep.
So in the TVL, and I'll just reiterate this in case someone's listening. I didn't hear about this yet. Obviously, we got 2 pods. The 12 teams in the TVL were separated into groups of 6, based on location, pretty much. Hopkinton, you got Medway, Holliston, Bellingham, Norton, and I'm missing one, but you get the idea. So they're going to play.
So you said Hopkinton,
Holliston, Medway, Norton. Was it Norton? I think it was. And then
Ashland.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So those 6 teams, they play each other twice during the season. You got the home match, and then you got the away match. So it's a 10-game season, no playoffs, no postseason. They did some intra-team scrimmages just to get used to the new rules. And as the athletic director, Rich Cormier, mentioned, it was also so the officials could get used to the new rules and get a practice game before they had to get out there and call the real thing.
Yep.
With all those rule changes. So it's not the season that we're used to, but I'm glad they're going out there and playing. What's the situation like in the Hockomock? Is it kind of the same deal?
In terms of what?
In terms of their layout. Like, what are they doing? Do you know? If you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing kind of a similar sort of thing with, you're playing kind of, I think I was looking at the Milford team schedule, and they're not playing every team in the Hawk. They kind of broke it up into what it's the Kelly Rex and the Davenport.
Oh,
I think
okay.
you're playing, yeah, I mean, it's right. You play the teams in the Kelly Rex, and the Davenport teams play the Davenport teams, twice each.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. It's very similar.
So where's your next game at? Do you know yet?
I have Millis girls soccer, I believe, on Saturday at 1 p.m. And I actually have to, because I forgot about this. I was supposed to cover a golf match on Monday, but I found out this morning that the golf match got postponed. And Tommy Castle asked me if I could cover the Hopkinton Medway field hockey game, actually. But he thought for some reason that was on Sunday at 10 a.m. So I got to let him know that it's actually on Saturday, and that.
There you go. We saved you some hassle.
Yeah, so,
we saved you some hassle there.
He seemed, I forgot that it was Saturday too. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. But then obviously just kind of looking at that schedule, it's like, oh wait, no, the field hockey game is actually on Saturday. So after I get off here, I'm gonna have to let him know that and see.
Well, maybe he'll send you anyway, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Coach Abate joining us in a few minutes. I do want to get into these picks, and we'll just run through these pretty quickly today. So we got the Bucks and the Bears on Thursday night.
First off, how did we do last week?
Oh, good point. Good point. We got to reveal that.
I think I got a few good ones last week. I might have.
Well, you were the winner. That's right. You were the winner. You went 12-3.
Okay.
Andy, Mike, and myself all went 10-5. So you were the winner. You got those 2 games on us. Good week for you.
Yeah, I think I might have stole one. There was one where you guys picked a lot, and I picked the other team. It might have been the Eagles.
Yeah, That was it. That was a huge upset. Well, not really, but yeah, that was the game. But no one had faith in the Eagles because of how bad they were playing. One game I got right over you though was Cleveland beating Dallas.
Oh yeah, yep,
I love that.
yep.
But
That was
you are the king for now. You're the king for this week.
okay. Okay, I'll take it. I
So
will take it.
obviously, we got Cam Newton who had COVID on the Patriots, and he
And
didn't
now
play.
Stephon Gilmore with COVID.
Yeah, now you have Stephon Gilmore. So obviously, I mean, they're discovering that this disease could even pop up a couple days later. You could end up having a positive test if you come in contact with it. So I think if this keeps going on in the NFL, because the Titans keep having cases
Yeah,
pop up too, I don't know. They're at risk. They might
they are.
they might have to put maybe a hold on the season for a week or two and then get back at it. Or
Yep. Or the season could
but
even be canceled. I wouldn't be surprised to see the season canceled by like week 8 or 9 or something. Or if this
well, I'll
keeps
be
up,
devastated. I
that
would
would
be
be
very
that would be pretty
devastated.
devastating. But yeah, I mean, if this keeps happening, I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, it's obviously an issue now, and my thing is they kind of had to see they should have seen it coming. They should have known that something like this was going to happen at some point. You
See, the
know,
problem is you can't really put them in a bubble for 17
right,
weeks.
right,
But
exactly. So,
I guess we'll cross our fingers and hope for the best.
and
But
didn't the Dolphins say today that like the Dolphins are going to allow full capacity at their stadium?
yeah, I don't think that's probably a good idea.
No,
At least, maybe 40, 50% max. Even that's
but
risky.
not a full 65,000 people. That is just
Yeah.
insane.
Because stadiums are crowded and there's no social distancing. You're sitting right next to people. You got people right behind you, right in front of you, especially if it's a packed house. For anyone that's ever been to Gillette, during a Patriots game, there's no space. There's no social distance. So that's the troublesome thing with stadiums. But a lot of different opinions by state governments. So I guess
Yep.
we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the NFL needs to come up with a policy. Maybe they will. I guess we'll have to see.
Hopefully, they got to do something, especially with the Titans keep having these positive tests, and now obviously a couple on the Patriots. Probably the two most impactful players on the Patriots,
Right. Well,
or
yeah. And
two of the most impactful, or best.
what surprised me is it was like, how was it just Cam Newton that tested positive and no one else? That's what
Right.
I want to know. And I
Well,
know
now it's
Gilmore's
obviously
positive
Gilmore,
now.
and
Right. I hope they sanitize that clubhouse over at Gillette.
yeah, yeah.
Well, hopefully no more cases will pop up. But
Hopefully,
there
hopefully.
actually there was actually breaking news recently about the NFL situation. So initially they were going to wait 5 days after a positive test to retest you and see if you're eligible to play. But they just ruled that if you're asymptomatic and you could pass a negative test, you could play right away.
Which I think is which I think I heard is possibly what's going to happen with Cam. I heard Cam could be asymptomatic and could end up playing this weekend.
Right. And Gilmore too. Gilmore could be asymptomatic. So that's an interesting rule. But I mean, there's a lot of science we don't know about the virus. Like, well, asymptomatic people could still spread it if they're positive, I guess. But if the test comes back negative, can they still spread it? Or can it come back negative and then a day later be positive again? I don't know.
Right.
I
Right.
guess we'll find out. All
Right.
right. So let's get to these picks. We got Thursday night football, Bucks, Bears. This is going to be a good battle. 2, 3-1 teams. I think Brady is starting to love it down in Tampa with all those nice weapons he got. I am going with Tampa Bay in that one. That Brady Evans connection, man, is that deadly?
Yep. Brady's coming off 5 TD passes this past weekend. He's obviously feeling locked in. Bears obviously didn't.
Good
I think
defense for the Bears.
Bears had a bit of a stinker, I think, this past weekend, and obviously their offense has taken a bit of a hit. So I'm going Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Nick Foles did not look good last weekend.
No,
but he is playing against Brady, so sometimes he's.
I'm going Tampa Bay too. Yeah.
All right. Rams, Washington football team. Washington's a mess as usual. I'm going Rams.
I'm going Rams too, and I was actually going to mention this before when you talked about the Cowboys. I believe the Eagles are leading the NFC East currently at like 1-2-1 or something. That's like
Really?
Yeah, the Eagles lead the division with a record of
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
1-2-1. So
Well, the Cowboys just can't get any breaks.
yeah.
So Washington could be in the mix for winning that division. Everybody's
And
still in the mix for winning that division.
well, Washington, I believe, is starting their backup QB. I heard they're going to bench Dwayne Haskins and start Kyle Allen.
Yes, you are correct. They're starting Kyle Allen, and then another quarterback changes the Jets. Sam Darnold taking a seat. He
Joe
might have got
Flacco.
Flacco starting. Yep.
Yep.
All right, Bills Titans. This is going to be a good game. Well, that's if the Titans play. This game's at risk right now with all the Titans cases popping up.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a good battle. I'll go Bills. I got more faith in their offense than the Titans.
I'm going Bills until I see the Bills really have a stinker. I think Josh Allen is playing at a really high level right now, which is,
Yeah,
interesting to say. But I mean, he's been one of the best QBs in the league so far in terms of, throwing the ball downfield a little bit, getting his receivers. Obviously, he's got some weapons now with Stephon Diggs and
that's a great
John
connection.
Brown. And, obviously he can use his feet a little bit as well. So I'm going Bills. Yeah.
This could be the year the Bills break the Patriots streak. It really could be. I hate to say that.
I'm going to be nervous to play the Bills. I'm telling you, I'm honestly going to be nervous to play the Bills.
Definitely. They're legit. They're legitimate.
Yeah.
Good defense, very solid offense. They're a good team. Eagles, Steelers. I'm going to go with the Steelers. They are looking good right now. Eagles had a nice win last week, but I don't see them winning this matchup.
I kind of want to pick the Eagles, to be completely honest with you. I really do. But I think I'm going to go Steelers here.
Okay.
You're
going to be so mad at yourself if Eagles win now.
I am.
Arizona Cardinals and the Jets. The Jets on a 4-game losing streak. The Cardinals on a 2-game losing streak. Something's got to give. Could Flacco be the difference?
I'm going Cardinals.
I'm going Cardinals. Yes.
I mean, obviously the Cardinals are on a little bit of a stinker right now, but
yeah,
the Jets are on a bigger stinker. So.
Right. They might go 0-16, the Jets.
Yeah.
All right. Raiders and Chiefs. This is going to be a good one. The Raiders just haven't looked good lately. I got to go Chiefs.
This has potential. Like you said, this could be a good game if the Raiders play up to their potential, but I think the Chiefs are the pick here.
If the Raiders play like they did against New Orleans a couple of weeks ago, it'd be a really good game.
Yeah, but I'm going Chiefs.
And if Mahomes plays like he did last week, well, the Raiders might win that game because he didn't play very well. Jags, Texans. The Texans are a mess. They just fired their head coach, Bill O'Brien, a former Patriots coordinator. I don't know. I have this thing whenever a team fires their coach, they come back the next week and win. So I guess I'll go Texans. And the Jags aren't that great either. So.
Oh, man.
I got to look up the stats on that. It's probably not even true. But I feel like I've seen a lot of teams do that. They fire their head coach, then the next week they come back and win.
I was actually going to – it's funny. No, I'm only laughing because I was actually going to say the same exact thing.
Really? Great minds think alike.
I kind of want to differ from you here just so we can, so we don't pick all the same teams. But I think I'm going Texans.
All right. Texans it is. Well, this is fun. People are very intrigued. Bengals, Ravens. I'm going Ravens on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see Joe Burrow get his first win this past weekend. But the Ravens are looking good. And, I don't know if the Bengals defense can really slow down Lamar. So I think Lamar is the difference and the Ravens win.
Joe Burrow, he's going to be legit, I think.
He is. I agree.
He's on a bad team, doesn't have a lot of weapons, so defense, questionable coaching. But if he had the right coaching and some weapons, he's going to be legit for sure.
Yep.
Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta just can't do anything right. I'm going with the Panthers, and Teddy Bridgewater, they've played well lately.
I really don't know who to pick here, man. I mean, obviously the Falcons are a mess, and then Julio Jones left the game this past weekend with a hammy. But I don't know how much confidence I have in the Panthers either. I mean, the Panthers being down Christian McCaffrey is obviously a big deal. I'm I'm going to pull a Bob here, and I'm going to predict a tie.
All right.
I'm going to go for
Fair
it.
enough.
What the hell,
It could happen. It could happen. A tie. If you predict a tie, you get the automatic win.
Yep. I'm going big risk here, but risk reward.
There you go. Miami, San Francisco. San Francisco just did not look good last week, but they're at home. I don't know. Miami's kind of struggling.
This is a weird one, right? Isn't this kind of a weird one?
It is a weird one. I don't know what Beathard's going to do. I don't know what to expect. I'll go with San Francisco on this one, but this is a weird game. This is a tough one to predict.
This is a tough one to predict. I'm going Miami. What
All right,
the heck?
There you go. It could happen.
Beathard could come out and go like 4 of 15 for 90 yards and 3 interceptions or something. I don't know.
Or he could throw 4 touchdowns.
Right.
You're going to get one or the other.
Right.
The good Beathard or the bad Beathard. This is a great NFC East matchup. Giants Cowboys. The Giants just have absolutely nothing going for them. The Cowboys have, I guess, very little going for them, but at least they have talent and weapons and a decent defense, and they're at home. I'll go Cowboys.
Same. Lock it up. Cowboys.
Locked in. Colts Browns. This is going to be a great matchup. The Colts and Phillip Rivers, they've been playing some good football. They've surprised me, but the Browns have too. The Browns have really come around. They're looking good. The Browns are at home. They're looking red hot. OBJ, Mayfield to OBJ, it seems like a developing connection that is really catching on. I think this is going to be a great game. I'm going Browns, though.
I want to go Browns. I'm going Colts.
All right. I don't know. That's another tough one. This is certainly a tough week.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if I'm wrong there at all. I would not be surprised if the Browns won, but I'm going Colts. All
right. I like it. If you win another week, I'll be very upset, though.
Watch. I'm going to go like 9-6 next week or something ridiculous.
We'll both go 4-10 or something. All right. Broncos, Patriots. I'm going to guess Cam Newton's going to play, so I'm going to go Patriots. But if he doesn't play, I'd probably go Broncos.
This game gets played and Cam plays, Patriots.
Because Hoyer and Stidham looked horrid, especially
awful.
Hoyer. It's like
Hoyer did not look good.
He's been in the league for like 9 years now on 17 different teams, and he just he looked like a rookie that is like just beginning, like fresh, an undrafted rookie of some type. He just looked like a deer in headlights out there. He didn't know what he was doing. It was pretty unexpected. I thought he would at least be able to game manage, but
right.
What can you do? And Stidham, Mr. Pick Six. I don't have any faith in him, and I don't know if he's going anywhere. I really don't.
Yep.
He could be a permanent backup. Vikings, Seahawks. I mean, Russell Wilson. Can't say enough good things about him. I'm going Seattle.
I'm going Seattle too, Tom.
All right. And then Monday Night Football, Chargers, Saints. I'm going Saints. They seem to be getting their act together. The Chargers, they have some promising young talent, but they're very young. And I feel like the veterans will get the best of this game.
I think you got to go Saints as well. I'm going Saints.
All right, there it is. Your week 5 picks. Hopefully they'll play. Hopefully all the teams will be healthy and will get through the football season. I guess if you look at what's going on right now, the odds, they don't look very great, but we are certainly hoping for the best. But without further ado, we have Coach Abate joining us, the Hillers field hockey head coach. Coach, please let me know if I'm saying your name wrong.
No, you got it right.
Excellent. I know I said it wrong for about half the year last year, so I apologize for that.
Well, both, if you want to go the Italian route, Abate is correct. So
yeah, whenever I see an Italian-looking name, I just do it the Italian way.
Right.
So
no problem.
Excellent. So, Coach, how's everything going? How's preparation for the season? You got your first game on Saturday. It must have been a little different getting ready for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our motto this year is we're just glad to be here. So with everything that's going on and all the changes with field hockey this season, we just keep telling ourselves that we're just glad to have a season and, you know, kind of trying to enjoy every day that we have. um, so this is a crazy season for field hockey, especially. So I know you probably know that a lot of the sports had to make some changes to their games for safety reasons, and there's a
Right.
lot of controversy with field hockey.
And we're going to throw some of those changes up momentarily. But how have the players adjusted to, and how have you adjusted getting ready for these changes that you're going to have to deal with this season?
I mean, I think at first we were kind of panicked about it because moving to a 7v7 format on top of girls wearing masks and on top of everything else, there's some other new rules in field hockey this year as well. Like there's no timeouts. We're doing 4 15-minute quarters. So a lot of changes, but I don't know. We adapt well. Kids adapt really well. I would not have thought that they'd be doing as well as they are with the masks, but it doesn't, I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't impact them, but it doesn't impact them the way maybe we had anticipated it would.
And I just want to quickly throw those rules back up so we can kind of just run through some of the differences. Sure. So we have the 7-on-7 situation, so less players on the field. No penalty corners. Fouls in circle would be 25-yard hits.
Yep.
And then as far as free hits, all players must be 5 yards away. No bullies. It will be alternating possession.
Yep. That's actually not a new rule. Free hits were always meant to be 5 yards away. But obviously the big difference is the 7v7 and no penalty corners.
Okay. And then some modifications. You're going to have 4 balls behind each goal because you can't have any ball girls or boys. And then some procedure differences. No pregame stick inspections. The coach will be responsible for that. Mm-hmm. And officials shall use alternative whistles, such as electronic whistles, air horns, are permissible. And substitutions will take place at midfield. No contact between players.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is pretty exciting stuff, right? Electronic whistles. I mean, I know you guys were talking football picks before I came in.
Yes.
But I mean, this is the real story here, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Electronic whistles.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what an electronic whistle looks like and sounds like.
Yeah, I guess, well, you know, we have a scrimmage actually this afternoon, which is something that I think all of the teams are doing just so that they can get used to new rules and new formats. So it's I should say it's an inter-squad scrimmage. So we're just playing ourselves. But, you know, again, we're just glad to be here. We're excited for our game this weekend. And as challenging as 7v7 is, I think ultimately it's going to turn our players into better players, into smarter players. So one of the things that we keep saying to the girls is that we have to play smarter this year, not harder, right? Because there's fewer people on the field. So it's 7, but one of them is a goalie. So we have 6 field players. So it's really important that we're very strategic, that we're not just running in circles, and that we're not working harder than we need to. And it's also a situation with just 6 people on the field. Everyone's got to perform, you know, we need everybody to be contributing. And so in that sense, I think that the experience of this season will make any player who's coming back next year be that much better.
Oh, certainly. And I'd imagine it's going to be a little bit more tiring out there for the players, having to cover more ground, not having as much assistance as you would normally have. But I'd imagine that you'll probably maybe swap out players a little more than usual since it's only 7-on-7.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about kind of, you know, following what ice hockey does and playing with lines to an extent to kind of sub in a whole fresh group of girls. But I think we're going to see how that goes. We have a ton of talent on this team, and we want to utilize that talent. And so we'll see how the first game goes, and we'll probably make some adjustments or some more decisions after that. But we certainly expect the girls to be tired. We've been doing a lot of conditioning since tryouts.
Go ahead, Jared.
Coach, I'm Jared. I'm with the Metrowest Daily News. It's very nice to meet you.
Oh, I feel like you and I have talked before. No?
Probably. Okay. I don't know. Maybe.
Hi.
Yeah, talk to me a little about that conditioning, because obviously conditioning is probably the biggest part. I mean, is that the first thing you were kind of focusing on right away with this team in terms of kind of coming in this year? Was that kind of like
it was
main focus, knowing that? And I guess kind of tying into that, what are kind of your thoughts on 7v7? You know, I know it's normally used in overtime and postseason. Obviously, there's going to be no postseason this year, but I mean, what are kind of your thoughts, and talk about kind of some of that conditioning that you guys have been doing in terms of?
Sure. I mean, I definitely wasn't happy. There was when I first heard about the rule change, there was a huge petition that was circulated. Yep. The lights in my classroom just went out. There was a huge petition that was circulated to try to get the committee to kind of reconsider that rule. But actually, I got some information that made it, I don't know, it makes a little bit more sense. So without us agreeing to 7v7, we would be facing a lot of the rule changes that soccer is going through. And it would have really dramatically changed the game to the extent that it wouldn't have been the same sport. And so that was really, I guess, where the 7v7 came from. We absolutely knew from the beginning of the season that conditioning is going to be top, right? And so we have been doing a lot of conditioning in every practice, not just in terms of running, but also stick and ball work with conditioning. You know, and I told the girls, you guys had a really long preseason time, and they were doing clinics this summer. And so I really expected them to come in, you know, tip-top shape, and doesn't always work out that way. You know, I think sometimes the more time you have, the less you do. But they are all working really hard, and it is a great group of girls. We have a lot of new players this year, about 10 new players on varsity, because we said goodbye to a huge group of seniors last year. So they're all working hard. They're having fun. And like I said, I think we have some really fantastic players, a lot of talent on the team this year. So I think even with the challenges of 7v7, they're just super psyched to be playing. Let's be honest, right? And so we're going to make it work. Games are on the weekend. I got to get up early. That's okay. I mean, we're just really happy to be here. So, yeah.
No, it's funny that you mentioned, you know, I was a couple of weeks ago, I did a story kind of on some of the field hockey modifications, and there's actually not many. Obviously, the two big ones, again, being 7v7 and no penalty corners. But I was talking to a coach who kind of brought up the same thing as you in terms of, you know, telling me we may have to go to 7v7, but at least we're not going to have all these modifications and rules a lot of these other sports. You know, like soccer.
I think soccer got rid of tackling.
Yeah, and heading.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to take tackling away from field hockey would have been a very difficult game. And so knowing kind of some of the rationale behind it made it a little bit easier to swallow, and we're just going to make it work.
Yep.
So how did that all work out? Was it like they presented these rule changes, and then a lot of the coaches said, no, we don't like this, there's got to be an alternative, and then they came back and said 7-on-7? Is that how that went?
Yeah, so there is a committee of people, a governing body for every sport in MIAA, and they met and they made this decision. And I think that coaches had asked for it to be reconsidered. Coaches had asked for it to be reconsidered even a week or two into the season. And that's just been shot down. And so I think the best thing for all of us to do is to plan accordingly and give it a shot. And just also remember that with like everything else right now, we're hoping this is not permanent. And so, you know, I'm a teacher also. And so we've had to adjust to so much in school this year, things that are not ideal, things, you know, that are not how we want them to be, but we just have to stay optimistic that it's not going to be permanent. And just like I'm grateful to be in school every day that I can be with my students, I'm grateful to be at field hockey with my players. So grateful. The idea of not having a season this year was not something I wanted to consider. That would have been a really tough thing to go through.
Yeah, I know it was devastating for the spring teams,
Yeah.
especially for those in their senior year,
Mhm.
not having the opportunity to play. And we didn't really know they weren't going to play until the last second. So they were
Yeah.
training, getting ready, I'm sure, and maybe playing another sport or something like that. But it was certainly a bummer. But I've always said it's just great to see sports happening. It's great to see that they found a way
Yeah.
to get them back out
But
there.
that's why football's got to get it together, right? Because we need a football on the weekends. I don't know about you guys, but when I got the alert that they weren't playing on Sunday, like that put a damper on my Saturday for sure, and a damper on my Sunday.
Yeah.
We need sports right now so much, and so yeah, we don't want to wear masks on the field, but we're gonna do it if that's what it takes to keep us on the field. So Cam Newton, whatever he did, wherever he was with his, you know what I mean? Like he's got to pull it together, right?
And that's why I said I want to find out how he got it and no one else did. Where was he? Where did he go?
Yep.
I hope he didn't go to any parties or anything like that.
Well, I think we all have probably a punchline to that joke that is not maybe ready for HCAM, but right. I mean, we all have our theories.
Right.
What happened? But we just want Cam Newton back on the field, right?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. After watching that disaster Monday, yeah, we definitely want Cam Newton.
And maybe we need a new Julian Edelman too. If we can quarantine Julian Edelman and get him back in a different form, that might be good as well.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. He's had a lot of questionable drops this year.
Well, I mean, the one drop that led to the pick six the other night was just like, I mean, that was, I mean, you can't put that on Stidham. That was right off his hands. That was right in his hands.
That was a channel changer for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how have the practices gone? What have some of the differences been in the procedure at practices? I'm imagining that there's some kind of social distancing going on, maybe a limit to how many players could be out there.
Yep. So we have a limit to how many players can be on the field. And when they're not engaged in, I'm just going to turn so I can get a little bit more light here. When they're not engaged in a drill or a game, they have to be 6 feet apart. So even with masks on, but we can do contact drills. I mean, we're going to play a game, so really happy to kind of have those restrictions lifted. I've just been amazed, honestly, at how good the players have been at following rules. I think the first day of tryouts was a little tricky, a little bit of, reminding people that when they take their mask off, they really have to spread out, but they get it. It just has become kind of second nature. I don't even hear them complaining about it. And so, we run our practices, as we normally do. We take some hand sanitizer breaks instead of just water breaks, just to be extra careful. But I think the hardest thing for them is not being able to take selfies together, their group selfies, right? Because I run an Instagram account for the team and they have one too. And they always want to get a picture, and I'm like, you can't be together if we're not playing, right? So but they are finding awesome ways to keep the team camaraderie going. They're going to do a hike together, I think, on Friday. So they're going to be outside doing some team building. They had a picnic, actually. So instead of having spaggers like they normally did after practice this weekend, they had a very socially distanced picnic outside at the school. And so, they're making it work and having fun. And that's really all I want. I think I told the kids, like, we want to have a competitive season, but ultimately I want them to have fun.
Right.
That's what we're here for.
With each other, and just enjoying each other's company and enjoying each other's time on and off the field. I mean, I think that's probably what it's all about, especially in, a very strange season like this. Yep. And, for some of them, obviously it's their final season, and yeah.
So savor it every day.
Absolutely. Just got to try to find ways to make the best of it. And, it sounds like that's what your girls are doing, so that's good.
Yep.
Just one question I had is, what are your thoughts on no penalty corners? I mean, is it something that you kind of understand? Is it something that you kind of feel is necessary in terms of,
I mean, I'm not gonna second guess safety decisions because I'm not a health professional. And so if somebody felt that it was necessary to get rid of the corners, then that's what we're gonna do. I think that again, this is not permanent. It's for this season.
right?
And it does change things. I mean, a 25-yard hit in does not provide the same scoring opportunity that a corner does. I
Absolutely.
think the girls love corners. They love practicing them. We love coming up with our plays and all of that. And so that is kind of strange. But if somebody says it's not safe, then I guess it's not safe and we're not going to do it.
Because I agree with you. I think, a 25-yard hit in place of a corner, again, I don't think allows exactly the same kind of scoring opportunity. Because again, off a corner, you can, get a pass and then another quick pass, and you can get a shot from, obviously way less than 25 yards and have a much better scoring opportunity.
Well, and then don't forget, I don't know if you know this, but on a 25-yard hit in on field hockey, there was a change made a year or two ago that they can't shoot it straight in. So
so it has
to move, has to travel or pass 5 yards, and then it can go in. So the 25-yard hit in it's not great.
Right.
We are working on our 25-yard hit in plays. So that's something new that we probably wouldn't have spent as much time on, that we're trying to, look at carefully.
To try to make the best of that. Yeah. No, definitely.
Yep.
I always personally want to see some penalty shots in field hockey to settle if a game goes into overtime or something like that.
Yeah.
What's the format going to be? Is there going to be overtimes, or are the game's just going to end in a tie if it's tied?
Well, and typically in the regular season, there is no overtime.
Right.
So the only time that we would normally go to overtime and the 7v7 format is in tournament. So this year it's going to be 2 30-minute halves, but they're going to be broken into 15-minute quarters. So they're following the same rules that collegiate teams play, and that's new for this year. So subbing can happen anytime, but coaches cannot call timeouts at all. So we get a timeout after the first quarter, after each quarter. But I actually am not a fan of that. I think at this level, girls, this is still them learning. We are teaching as coaching. And so to not be able to call a timeout and readjust and talk about something and have them learn and then put that into play, I think is a huge disadvantage. These are not college players. They are high school players. And so I definitely have questions that choice.
Yeah, and I feel like the timeouts that are called in the field hockey games are so few anyway, that it shouldn't be a big deal. You should be able to call those timeouts.
And we would like them now with 7v7. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Right, because you might have players out there that just are having a really hard time getting used to the format, and maybe you need to adjust them somehow. And I'm surprised that you can't call timeouts.
Yeah.
So the first game is this Saturday against Medway, and that's always a good matchup for the Steelers team. Have you heard anything about what Medway brings to the table?
I have no idea. I have no idea, but we're excited to play them. That's always a good game. It's kind of cool that we get to play them back to back the way we are this season. So we'll be home on one day and away with them on the next. So it'll be really great to see kind of what strategy and what changes we make for that second game based on, what we learn in the first.
Right.
How excited are your girls? Oh, sorry, Tom. Go for it.
I was just going to do a shameless plug. I was going to say, and don't forget, folks, we'll have live Hillers field hockey this Saturday on HCAM. We'll have Hillers JV at 9 a.m. and Varsity at 11 a.m.
We don't need football.
That's right. We got field hockey and girls soccer on Saturday. So full day for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we did actually just get the news that every player is going to be allowed to have 2 spectators or 2 fans at the game. That was new. Up until now, there are going to be no fans at all. So
that's breaking news. I didn't hear that yet.
Oh, good. Aren't you glad you brought me? Okay.
Absolutely.
So breaking news. So that's great. especially for the senior parents, I was really devastated for them to think that they weren't going to see their kids' last games. Not that HCAM wouldn't offer them a tremendous experience, but obviously it's not the same as being in person.
That's right. We figured we may get some volunteers out of it from people that really wanted to be there. Maybe they could run a camera, something like that.
I think we might still get some, so don't be surprised.
Well, we have had some people step up to the table, so we're happy about that. And
and
if anybody's interested, we're always looking.
I will lasso you guys some more for sure.
Absolutely. So that's exciting. Do you know how that's going to work? I know one of the leagues, and I kind of put this in the head of Rich Cormier last week, the athletic director, the Dual Valley, they are, what was it, like a medallion or something that they give to the players, or like a necklace or something like that. And they get one necklace for the game and they can give it to one person. Is it going to be something like that?
They're going to get lanyards.
Lanyards, that was what I was looking for.
They're going to get like passes, that
right.
And they're not replaceable. So if you lose it, you're out of luck.
I heard there was a possibility of this, Tom. I knew they were doing something like this was in the works, and I knew it was kind of I knew it was already going to be taken into effect in the dual county league as well, because I'd seen that Wayland was going to be doing it, and I think LS was going to be doing it as well. So
yeah, it's a good plan.
So yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, and it's a way to keep the crowds down, not have too many people, but still allow the parents to go, and they could switch off going to games. If the one week the parents want to go, the next week the uncle wants to go.
Yeah, everybody wants to go to a field hockey game.
Absolutely. It's going to be it's always very enjoyable, but you're going to get 7-on-7 field hockey this year.
I know.
Interesting.
And we're excited to have you at our games too, Tom.
We're looking forward to it. So obviously there's some of the differences in practices. Have you had to have longer practices to work with different groups of players than usual, or is it kind of the same?
Kind of the same. I mean, I'm really lucky. I actually have a co-coach with me this season, and her name is Megan Carlisle. So she and I are coaching the varsity team together. She's actually, I say, Hopkinton field hockey legacy, in that she's the niece of Joan Bannon, who was the varsity coach for a very long time before me.
Legend.
Yep.
Joan Bannon. So her niece is coaching with me as well. And so we've been able to kind of split the girls up into groups and work on different skills to kind of maximize our time at practice. And we have an assistant coach as well, who's working with the goalies and with JV. We have 3 goalies between varsity and JV this year. Really excited. They all show so much talent.
Coach, one thing I want to ask is, what do you think? How do you think gameplay is going to be affected on the field with 7v7? Do you think it's going to be more attacking? Do you think teams are going to try to play more defensive?
Well, I don't. You're asking me to give away my.
Do you think games are going to be more high scoring? More what?
I said, you're asking me to give away our strategy, Jared.
I'm talking about more in general. I'm talking about more in general, not necessarily your strategy, but
you know what, Jared, you might have to just wait and see.
Yeah, you might just have to wait and see. But okay. I think we are looking to play a strong defensive game. Girls tend to find a way to get themselves in the circle no matter what, but sometimes it's harder to get them back on the other end to do defense. So I think with our limited girls who are going to be on the field, we have a strategy that we think will work. So ask me again after Saturday.
I honestly, Coach, I wasn't actually asking I wasn't trying to pick on your team or whatever. I was just kind of trying to think about more in general. Do you think?
Yeah. It was a good.
Going to attack more? Do you think teams are going to defend more? It's to be kind of back and forth, attack. Yeah, I was kind of more curious, talking about in general in terms of what you think, but
yeah, I mean, I think with less players on the field, it does kind of open up some more scoring opportunities, because we're going to kind of eliminate some of the clusters that happens in the circles, and I think that will give people some cleaner shots. There could be a lot more offense that goes on, but I think we want to prepare for defense, and maybe that's why, right? We want to have a defense in place.
Yeah. And have you had any type of scrimmage yet? I know that some of the teams were doing intra-squad scrimmages.
We have one today, and it's in about half an hour, so I need to run soon.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so we have our inter-squad scrimmage today, as long as the weather holds out with no lightning and thunder. So
well, that's what we're hoping. It's looking like a mix of clouds out there, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But I know you have to run, so we'll let you go. We wish you the best of luck with the scrimmage. Is field hockey doing what soccer's doing? They're having the officials get some practice on the scrimmages too?
We have officials for today. Yep.
Ah, terrific. All right.
Awesome.
Well, have a good scrimmage, and we'll see you Saturday.
Thanks, guys.
Best of luck, Coach. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
That was head coach of Hillers Field Hockey, Rebecca Abate, and they start off their season this Saturday, and you'll see.
Is it Abate or Abate? I have a feeling it's Abate.
Well, she said both work. Abate is
okay.
the Italian version, and Abate is, I guess, the American version. So I guess I wasn't wrong because I said Abate for like half the year last year, and then I heard someone say Abate, and I'm like, oh boy. So I guess either way works, which is good to hear. But it's exciting stuff. The season's starting, the intra-squad scrimmage today, and she seems very excited to get going. Joe.
She does. She seems very, just kind of, and it seems like her team is very kind of just gung-ho about, whatever modifications or whatever. We're just going to kind of try to roll with the punches and go with the flow and do what we got to do and try to enjoy whatever season, try to enjoy the season, even in a weird, shortened rule change season.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I mean, I've covered Hillers Field Hockey obviously for a few years now. They always have great team chemistry. They always have a great time on the field. They always play hard, of course. So every team I've seen for Hillers Field Hockey, it's always a fun time to cover them and watch them play, and they just always have great chemistry. So I think that's why they have such a good program.
Yep.
Team chemistry certainly a thing that'll really help you get through these crazy times with lots of rule changes and
no matter what the sport. Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Like, I mean, that's, it's funny you mentioned chemistry. I going back to Milford soccer, who I was talking about before, there's a lot of teams that I've seen over the years, talented boys soccer teams that have a lot of talent, but they might not necessarily have the chemistry.
Right.
I'm not going to single any teams out. I don't want to call anybody out or whatever or anything, but you look at a team like Milford. Milford, not only, I think, to me, has obviously an abundance of talent, but they also, it was clear that they have chemistry. That a lot of these kids have been playing together for years and years and years and familiar with each other's games and how they play and just kind of knowing where each other's going to be. And I think that's so important, especially again during a season like this, like you said. So
it certainly is. And by the way, it was pretty funny how Coach Abate kind of Belichicked you on that one of the answers.
Definitely.
That was awesome.
That was pretty awesome. That was good.
Because I was thinking after that, how Belichick would answer that question, it would be, well, you'll have to wait and see.
Yep. So that was good. That was good.
That was great stuff. So next week on the show, we are going to be joined by Hillers girls soccer coach, Coach Skiba. So we look forward to talking with him about how soccer is going. And by that point, we'll already have a game or two in the books. So we'll be able to touch on how those couple of games went. But Jared, thanks so much for joining me today.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Tom. Again, always appreciate you having me on. And great stuff as always. And
right.
I still feel a little iffy about some of my picks, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right, we got to go. This has been HCAM Sports Talk Live. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a good one, everybody.